Thanks for joining me. This lab session is entitled JMeter Test Debugging. With completion of a script record session, you are then ready to edit the permanent elements in the thread group section. Some elements recorded you may have found unnecessary, so they can be removed or commented out. The debug process may require multiple iterations of executions to achieve a good status. This is a critical part of the process to getting a script test ready. In the previous demo session, we used the Internet Hero QApp website script. Let us use it again to talk about debugging. A debugging exercise is intended to clean up the thread group, verify that the elements are working as expected, confirm that expected metrics output is in use and operational, and make sure the user ramping and duration is meeting the test requirements. So we will take the script through this exercise. When completed, the test script should be doing what we expect and providing acceptable results. Here is a simple debug plan. Clean up, verify elements, confirm metrics, make sure settings meet requirements. Of course, you have already seen me do some debugging by stepping through each element to determine if there were changes required. That is part of the verify element step. Additional consideration should be given to other elements, such as think time, maybe calculations needed, and possibly data capture for processing. All items in the thread group can be debugged by using the debug log. Go to the Options pull-down menu and select Log Viewer. This change will open a log viewer immediately in JMeter. In the thread group, select any item for which you want to see debug information. Then click the Help pull-down menu and then select Enable Debug. To see the debug information, run the test again. Let me demonstrate this debugging concept in JMeter. So let's say we want to verify the caching is working. Okay, we're using our previous script for the Hero QApp test plan, and I've added Cache Manager. You didn't see that one before, and this is the one we're going to look at in this debug session. So we have a couple of ways of going about it. Over in the Options pull-down menu, one of the things we need is the log viewer. So as soon as we click the log viewer, then we can see the log and its data down here near the bottom of the screen. Now, the second part of that is I could go back to the options, and the next selection is log level, and I could choose debug. That would allow me to get debug information for basically everything that's in the script. So that's one way of doing it, but that could be way too much information at one time and to try to digest. So another approach is go back to the script itself and select what you want to debug. In this case, we're talking about the Cache Manager, and just to mention a short, brief discussion about the Cache Manager, this is the one that the browser utilizes, and he may or may not save information about the URLs so that if you're using URLs repeatedly, it doesn't have to go back and get that information. It saves it in a cache, and that then saves time, processing time from then on. So it's good. The more hits that exist, then the better the saving of time or performance is. All right. And you have the ability also to check this box that I'm pointing to say that I want to treat the cache just like it's in production. In production, every user, the browser is handling the processing, the iterations that a given user is working with. And so each user has its own cache, whereas in JMeter, if I don't check this box and I have multiple users testing, virtual users, then they're all using the same cache. So I can emulate that with this button here. Okay, enough about the cache manager. So then what we want to do, once we select that, we go up to Help. And there it has two options: enable debug, disable debug. Strange place for it to be, but that's where it is. And so I click this button, enable debug. And if I look down in this log again, the last entry now has something to do with that. It says log level set to debug. And it's saying specifically for the cache manager. All right, so now we're ready to run the test again. One more thing, just want to verify with the thread group, did I specify, and I did, more than one loop. So we can see what's happening there. Are we able to get information cached or not? If we do it for just one, we wouldn't know. Okay, so I'm just doing 3 iterations. Okay, and let's kick off the test. We'll see the log going through much data, and it should be done. Yes, it's done. Now, I want to also point out where this log is. If we go to the Windows Explorer and look in the bin directory for JMeter, we'll see jmeter.log. I'm going to open it in Notepad, and I'll drag that over to this screen so we can see it, and arrange it so we can see the entire there. That should help. Okay, we're at the top of the log. The log has a total of 18,000, no, more than that, 19,000 lines of data. So even with selecting one, there's plenty of information. Now, here's a quick and dirty way I know about, because I know what I'm looking for, and that is I'll do a find for, I already have it in my list, already in cache. So I want to see all of the lines where that appears, and that should tell me something. I'm going to do the find all. And so at the bottom here, I see all of them that have already in cache. And so notice what it's pointing to. This URL for secure and the URL for login. And you'll see it repeatedly, and the total number of times is 52 hits. Now I've run this several times for the same test, and I started out with something like 19 hits and 20 some hits and now 52 hits. So it's interesting that it's showing that many hits where it's already in the cache. In other words, it's saying that for this URL, that has already been placed in the cache, and that many times for either secure or login, it found that data that was stored in the cache for those two URLs. And that's all for either login or secure. And that's mostly what's in use during this test. So that gives you an idea, and we answered our question. Are we getting data in the cache? Is that seemingly to be working properly? And the answer should be yes. I think you would agree. My time has ended for this session. I thank you for yours. Join me in the next video.